All right. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Kol Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. Shalom to you sincere Akim out there listening, learning, and pushing this truth. And shalom to the few sincere Akwath that are out there listening and learning as well. With that being said, Adawan Ratazad, this will be edifying. As usual, I'm going to go into Rakah Kwadash. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. Many thoughts. I don't know if they're all going to be conveyed in this video. A lot of thoughts were in my mind. I had to do a land back to the elder brother Ariala out there in GMS Dallas. All right. I'll leave the link for this video in the description. Highly implore you to go watch the whole video in its entirety. I haven't even gotten all the way through it. I'm about halfway through it. And I had to stop the video and do a land back, a rebuttal. All right. And this is going to be a rebuke. Salaki, I'm joking. What was in my mind? The title for this lesson is remember, brothers, we got to tap into Esaus Blessing. I'm being facetious. I'm making mockery. You know, everything the elder brother was saying so far, which I'm only halfway through it, but I concur completely with his sentiments. But I had to land back it, man. You know, you got to remember, brothers, we got to tap into Esau's blessing. But joking again, being facetious. But everybody got their lot, man. Everybody got their lot. You got a lot of brothers that are sincere, but they're sincerely deceived. And we know what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai said. He said the deceived and the deceiver are his. You got a lot of rebel rousers. You got a lot of agent provocateurs, plants. And you got brothers that are just sincerely misled. Either which way, they got their lot. They got their roles to play in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's movie. You know, if the Wadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that spirit isn't on us. Well, I'm going to say myself first and foremost, because when I first came in, I was gravitating towards ISUPK. I like the militancy, so on and so forth. But I was in search of truth. So as a Church of Berea, I searched the scripture to see if everything men were saying were true. And I was fully persuaded that Great Millstone, GMS, had the 100% sound doctrine, no leaven. Hence why I follow the doctrine of Great Millstone. Okay? So, of the apostles on down. So, but again, everybody got their own lot, man. Everybody got their own lot. It is what it is. But this is foolish. This is nonsensical. When you really think about it, this is nothing but carnality. And you know, I got the scriptures on deck. I got a couple precepts. I don't want to make it too long. I just had to spotlight this video here. Must watch. The scriptures say a carnal mind is enmity with the Lord. Being carnal separates you from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is a spiritual battle, okay? Which I got all them scriptures on deck. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, you know. The enemy is going to come in as a flood, but when the enemy comes in as a flood, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to lift up that standard. What's that standard? Spiritual power, which is spiritual power is nothing more than an increase in the faith that we already have. As it is written, with the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Yahweh Shai HaMashiach said, we shall do greater things than him. So again, we're waiting for the increase of faith. We're waiting on that spiritual power. We're waiting on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to rise up to the prey. So this is foolish, man. This is foolish. And you just call it a buck. You look stupid as hell. Like the elder Ariala titled the video, you ninjas really think Sleazy E is scared of you. It's far from it. Okay. Again, but you got a lot of rebel rousers. Let me see. I want to get the Salakia, bear with me. I want to get the thumbnail of that Evite, that's like that Edomite, that Shedemite, that called the little boy a nigger, you know. Esau is showing their true colors, man. The horns are coming out, and I'm in the South, you know. I'm from New York, but I grew up, from middle school on up. I grew up in the South, Florida, the dirty, the gunshine state, the home of Trayvon Martin. You know what I'm saying? And I share the sentiments of, again, the elder brother Ariala. These Edomites in the South, they not scared of Jake, man. I don't know what the spread is on you, Jake, on them Edomites up north, because I ain't really been up north in a minute, not for a long time. And my memory of them, I was a child, but these good old boys, they not scared of Jake, man. These country folk, these cattle bred Edomites, a lot of them go into correctional. A lot of them join these correctional institutions, the prison industrial complex, corn-fed big old Edomites, camouflage, boot wearing. You know what I'm saying? They not scared of Jake, man. They with the shits. And again, Esaus Blessing, we all know it, is the sword. He's very proficient with the sword. Okay, he's John Wick with the stick. He's the master of disaster when it comes to carnality. And not to mention, that's just the lower level peon Edomite. This devil controls everything. You Jakes are bugged out of your goddamn mind if you think Esau is scared of you, man. All he got to do is lock the goddamn grid down. That's part of the curses. We are yet this day in captivity. We got to go to this devil and want of all things, man. What you gonna do when he locked down the grid, man? What you gonna do when he starves you out? When he turns off your electricity? When he turns off the water? You ninjas, you niggas gonna fold like a cheap lawn chair. But it is what it is. Everybody got their lot, man. But remember, brothers, we got to tap into Esau's blessing. Man, Jake is lost in the sauce. Why don't you try tapping into Jacob's blessing? As it is written, Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. King David was a man after Yahweh's heart, man. We are not carnal people. We're spiritual people. Okay? So anyway, I'll leave the link again in the description. I don't want to make it too long. Let me just run through these precepts. I'll get back to watching the rest of that video. It just compelled me. I had to do a land back. Okay? Jake, man, a lot of you being led to the slaughter. But it is what it is. 2 Corinthians 10:4. Straight to the point. For the weapons of our warfare, because you best believe we're at war. Okay? And you fighting for your life, for salvation. Okay? We're looking to be saved. We're looking to be delivered from all this impending danger. Okay? But what's going to deliver us? That thawah, that spiritual hedge around us, that spiritual mark exempt from judgment. Okay? Again, when the enemy comes in as a flood, because he's coming, Esau's losing his kingdom. He's losing control of the narrative. This serpent, this beast is being cornered, and he going to lash out. And as the brother brought out, Esau has a perpetual hatred against his brother Jacob. A never-ending hatred for you tribes. Okay, and it's a biblical hatred going back to the womb. And he about to show his true colors. His horns about to come out. And you ain't ready. A lot of you, Yahweh Bashim and Hawashai gonna let a lot of you get busy, but you ain't gonna win this battle. The saints are gonna take the kingdom, the remnant of Yasharallah. And we gonna take it through divine intervention. We gonna take it by spiritual power. With spiritual power. And that's what we waiting on. We're waiting for that change all the day long. 2 Corinthians 10:4. For the weapons of our carnal, Slakia. I keep thinking in my mind, them Jakes. I forgot who it was. We got to, at the shooting range. Remember, we got to tap into Esau's blessing. Jake bugged out. For the weapons of our warfare, they bugged out, Elder. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. Okay? And what's going to pull down them strongholds? Spiritual power, an increase of faith. Okay? But right now, how are we fighting? How are we waging war against this devil? With the word, with this good book. You know? Our sword right now is this word. You got to get proficient in this word. Okay? You know? That's how we're fighting right now. The time and we're what, fishers, right? But the time gonna come when these lowly fishers gonna turn to hunters, and we gonna hunt them. But we gotta wait on Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So it says, Hebrews 4:12, for the word of Yahweh, of God Yahweh, is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of the soul and spirit, and of joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So this word is our greatest weapon right now. This word, being proficient in this word, rightly dividing the word of truth. This word, these precepts, this gospel, this sound doctrine, it fuck up your whole spirit, man. Have you losing sleep at night. Why? Because this isn't our words. These are the words of the creator of the universe. You know, it's pure doctrine. You know, this is our weapon. You know, and you got to get proficient in it, apt to teach, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth unto Yahweh. Again, just a couple precepts that was in my mind. You know, backing up what the elder was going into. You know. Matthew 10:16, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So out there dressed in all black, like you the new Black Panther movement, you know what I'm saying, trying to intimidate Edomites, you know, that ain't the look, bro. That's not what's popping. Okay? You know? That ain't the play, man. We're supposed to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Bold in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. But how do we show our boldness? By making our bodies a living sacrifice upon the altar. Bringing out this sound doctrine. Prophesying to the wind. Shaking the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Lifting up our voice like a trumpet. You know? Telling these people off. Telling them their judgment. You know, whether they hear or forebear, blowing this trumpet. That's how we fight right now. Okay? You know? And our warfare is doing more damage than your carnality. By us being obedient, this devil is gonna lock down this truth. He's gonna demonize the men of the Lord. He's gonna lock down the internet. He's gonna usher in the famine of the word. He gonna come in as a flood. He's gonna persecute the men of the Lord. But why? Not because of you, not because of what you at the gun range and shit. They don't care about that. You know? This word is what's getting to this devil. You know? It's exposed, this truth. It's exposing all his lies. This is Psalms 44:6. This is King David, man. A mighty warrior king / prophet that was getting busy, had so much blood on his hands he couldn't build a temple. His son King Solomon had to build a temple, and this is straight out of his mouth. Psalms 44. Let me see if I want some more. I'll start at 5. Psalms 44:5. Or is that 44, right? It says, through thee, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, not our strength. You know, through Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, through thee will we push down our enemies. Through thy name, the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and are safe. The name of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is dreadful amongst the heathen. This is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's fight. Okay? Through thee will we push down our enemies. Through thy name will we tread them under that rise up against us. This is the main point. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. Okay, so that whole concept of stockpiling arms, guns and rifles and shotguns and grenades and rocket launchers and all this dumb shit. Okay, that's Esaus Blessing. Okay, the modern day bow, the modern day sword is a gun. All right, and we don't trust in that. It's nothing wrong if you have it. That's on you. But as for me, I used to be proficient with the sword, the modern day sword. I used to be into guns, but as my faith increased, I sold all them shits, man. What the fuck can a gun do against spiritual power? I want the ultimate power, the ultimate strength, the ultimate weapon. Spiritual power, what Esau has wet dreams about, what he fantasizes about in his movies, his science fiction movies. That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to make good on his promise for us to do greater things than he did. Okay? For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies. Thou hast put them to shame that hated us. All right? I'll read a little bit more. In Yahweh we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. Salah. Because they gonna learn to fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai gonna show out, man. He gonna show out, and he gonna use his men to do it. But you gonna know the power came from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai from on high. You gonna know his spiritual power. You gonna see real power. But we gotta wait. We gotta wait patiently. Patiently. That's what we're waiting on. It's Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. Who is the prey? These are the nations. Starting with Esau, Edom. Okay? And the day of vengeance burneth in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's heart, man. He can't wait. But everything got to be done decently and in order. We waiting on Yahweh to give the green light, to give the go-ahead. Yahweh Shai got to wait, so we got to wait. So it said, therefore, and while we're waiting, what are we doing? We're occupying. We're occupying till he comes. Watching as well as praying and being obedient. Rehearsing the righteous acts. Warning the people. Feeding Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's sheep with sound doctrine. Showing our faith by our works. So it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms. That's what he's doing now. He's mustering the host of the battle for this third's woe. He's gathering them as we speak in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. It says, to pour upon them mine indignation, his righteous anger, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. And that's the ultimate sword. Those ICBMs, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's arrows. Couple more to close out. Isaiah 40:31. But they that wait upon the Lord, again, we're waiting all the day long for our change. We're waiting for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to increase our faith for us to get that spiritual power. In the day of power, thy people shall be willing. But they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength. Again, King David, the mighty men of valor, they had spiritual power. Okay? And we gonna get it. As of old, as of the days of old. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is raising up the tabernacle of David of old and closing up the breaches thereof. It says, but they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings. We're going to be able to fly, baby. Hancocks. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. and they shall walk and not faint. Again, we're going to get spiritual power, which is an increase of faith. And I'm going to close out here. Again, I'll leave this. Salakia. Let me see.
Blessing is
Salakia. Again, I'll leave the link for this video in the description. You know, go watch the whole video in its entirety. I'm going to go back and finish watching it. Very edifying, spot on. Everything the elder's saying is spot on. Romans, I'll close out here. Romans 8 and 7. Let me start up. Start at 5. Romans 8 and 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. And we're a spiritual army. Okay? We walk by faith, not by sight. It says, for to be carnally minded is death. Talking about tapping into Esaus Blessing. You know, that's a carnal mindset. To be doing what IHUPK is doing, you know, that's a carnal mindset. That leads to death, man. You ain't putting no types of fear in Esau's heart, especially not these good old boys. You know, you playing right into their hands. Okay? You can't take this man down. It's gonna take divine intervention to take this devil down, man. Esau, Edom. It took divine intervention for us to be in the conditions that we're in now. So common sense, it's going to take divine intervention to save us. Again, what the hell you going to do when this devil locks the grid down? You know, he stopped the trucks from coming in. What you going to do? For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. We rest in Yahushua HaMashiach. This is our rest. This is the refreshing. Because the carnal mind, this is the main point, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh. Being carnal, having a carnal mind separates you from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. We're supposed to be spiritual. The spiritual man judgeth all things. We walk after the spirit, not after the flesh. We filter everything through the scriptures, man. That's how we govern ourselves, through these precepts. For it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. And that's the point. Adawan Ratazah, we be of that number. Okay? We're trusting in everything Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai told us would happen. That's our faith. And we're seeing everything play out right in front of our eyes. So all we have to do is keep enduring, you know, to the end. You know? And Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai gonna lift up that standard. We gonna be all right. We gonna get that spiritual power. Then we gonna take this devil down. Okay? So keep watching, keep praying, keep fighting, keep pushing, man. We're close. Shalom. Wa abad babo. Kwam Yesharallah.